My name is Hanna Rapini. I'm from Springfield, Vermont, and I am Cole's mother. I'd like to begin by thanking Representatives Lance and Crowley for the opportunity to be here today and speak on behalf of my son and thousands of other Americans also suffering from undiagnosed conditions. On March 18, 2008, my son Cole was born, and despite being 5 weeks early, he received 9s on his APGAR scores and was deemed totally healthy by doctors. That is a word that I have not heard to describe my son since. In the last 3 years, I have left him on an operating table for 6 eye surgeries, an open renal biopsy, a supraglottoplasty to fix his airway, a feeding tube placement, and to have his adenoids removed. I've spent holidays in the hospital learning how to give my son steroid injections to treat a rare seizure disorder. I've sat in doctors' offices and been told that my son has lost half his hearing, that he might lose his vision, that he will likely need a kidney transplant, and among other things, that his brain is abnormal, but no one knows why. I've searched out doctors across the country who specialize in one of my son's symptoms and spent money I didn't have to fly him there. I have lived in hospitals for weeks at a time. I watched as my son was wheeled away for MRIs, spinal taps, skin, and tissue biopsies. I have been told that my son may never sit unassisted, crawl, walk, or talk because everywhere we have been told that they have never seen anyone like Cole. Aside from the doctor's appointments, I have also battled with insurance companies that do not want to pay for his feeding tube or specialty equipment because my son is not diagnosed with a condition that requires the use of such things. I have picked out adapted strollers instead of bicycles and purchased every toy on the shelf, hoping that I'll find one bright enough for him to see or loud enough for him to hear. I've wondered if Cole is scared or if he resents me for putting him through all of the testing. I wonder if the smell of the EEG is just as familiar to him as it is to me. I've worried that he is mad at me for not being able to fix this for him, to make everything better for him like moms are supposed to do for their children. Last year, we were fortunate enough to be one of the very few applicants to take part in the National Institutes of Health's Undiagnosed Diseases program. They were not able to find a diagnosis for Cole, but perhaps in the future, they may find another patient who has similar symptoms and be able to find a diagnosis. Unfortunately, the National Institutes of Health is currently not accepting any more patients into this program because there are so many patients without a diagnosis and the resources for the program are limited. What is really needed is a way for doctors and scientists to be able to collaborate and to share information like a registry. Currently, cases without a diagnosis, like my son's, are left isolated and truly orphaned with no place to keep a record of his symptoms and medical history. Patients can only get on a registry with a diagnosis, so what do we do in the meantime? I can't read a book on his condition. I don't know what the best treatment options for him are. We only have our hope to keep us going, which that at times is hard to come by. While we are left hoping, Congress has the power to make a difference by ensuring that the National Institutes of Health has enough resources to continue and expand the undiagnosed disease program. Congress can also help by creating a registry for undiagnosed disease patients like they have done for other diseases that could help foster research and collaboration with doctors throughout the country. Research that is needed to help find a diagnosis for Cole and the thousands of others without a diagnosis and without treatment. Thank you.